Limit as x goes to 0 of sine squared of 3x divided by 9x. The first thing we're going to do is try plugging a 0 in for all of the x's. That will give us sine of 3 times 0 squared. Remember that sine squared means to work out the sine first and then square it, divided by 9 times 0. 3 times 0 is 0, so we have the sine of 0 squared, divided by 9 times 0, which is 0. The sine of 0 is 0, so we have 0 squared divided by 0. 0 squared is 0 over 0. We have the 0 over 0 indeterminate form. We will need to rework this. Because we have trig functions together with power functions, we're going to make use of the identity of limit as theta goes to 0 of sine of theta divided by theta equals to 1. In order to make use of that identity, we need to isolate the sine functions. There's two of them. Since they're the same phase, we can put them together as quantity squared. They're in the numerator, so we're going to have a denominator for those. The remaining terms, which is just the 9x in the denominator, can be written in its own fraction. And now we phase match. We need to take the phase of the sine and put it in the other position. We have a sine of phase 3x in the numerator. We need a 3x in the denominator. Now to compensate, we're going to put that in the numerator of the other fraction. Notice that it's 3x quantity squared since it's in a squared function to compensate for it. Our next step is to rewrite this exactly as we see it, because this is perfect form for the identity, but we're going to simplify the other fraction by squaring the 3x. That's 9x squared divided by 9x, and we can actually cancel out the 9's and one of the x's. So let's take one more step and write it. Again, this fraction we'll rewrite exactly as we see it because it's perfect form for the identity, and then we have an x left over. Sine of 3x over 3x as x goes to 0 is perfect form. We phase match it. That goes to a 1, and we now have removed the 0 over 0 indeterminate form. We have a 1 squared, and we can plug a 0 into the remaining x's, which we just have one more x left over. 1 squared is 1, and 1 times 0 comes out to 0.